Okay, welcome everybody. I'm so excited for you guys to hear from SheriLynn tonight, our special guest speaker. You guys, if you are new to the business and you have not gotten to know who SheriLynn is yet, you're in for such a treat. I have literally, from the beginning of my time in the business 2.5 years ago, have looked up to her so much. She is such an inspiration. She's a mom of three, top 10 income earner, ambassador diamond. And I just can't even wait for you guys to just hear all the wisdom she has to share tonight, because she's just so raw, so real, so vulnerable. And I just love every time I get to hear her speak. So SheriLynn, do you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and just start with your story?
Yeah, well, hi everyone. Thanks for having me. Okay, I'll give y'all I'll try to do like a quick version because I can talk. But SheriLynn Alcala, and let's see, I joined It Works. The end of June will be 5 years. So I'm coming up on 5 years, which just is crazy because part of me feels like I just joined, but then I'm like, wow, I'm not really a newbie anymore. And so it was 5 years ago, and we were really at a time, I think John might join me. I like when we tag team the story. But it was a time where John was working full time and I was home with our girls they were 1 and 2 years old at the time, which is crazy because the little one just turned 6 today. Today's her birthday. So it's like, I'm like all emotional about that. But yeah, so they were 1 and 2, and, John had a good job, but things were tight. We had our mortgage, we had a car payment, we had 2 kids, just a family. And we didn't have debt. So our story wasn't like that. We both went to college, both had our degrees. John works in the financial industry, but we literally, and we'll talk about it sometimes, we just lived paycheck to paycheck. There was never extra. I would dread Christmases, having to buy gifts. Even if friends would have a birthday, it was oh my gosh, it was just so tight. There were times where there was more month than money. And we just we're okay, we got a week left. We can't spend $1, and it was just crazy. We even talked about, going to restaurants, and John and I never eat after church. We would never order our own entree. We would share, even if we were hungry after, because we just didn't have the money to go out to eat. And so things were that was just kind of how life was. Yet we did everything you were supposed to do, went to school, had our degrees, and did all of that. And so I wanted to put our daughter Jocelyn in dance class, and she was 2, going to be turning 3 in August. And I was like, I want to put Jossie in dance, and had all these things. And I'll never forget John just looking at me and saying, babe, what envelope is that coming from? Because we have done the Dave Ramsey envelope system since we got married. Well, we've been married almost 14 years. Is that what it is? Almost 13?
13.
Almost 13 years. So we've been married almost 13 years. And so we've always done the envelopes, where if I wanted to spend extra money, I did pull from electricity because my envelope was always really small. And so, so we did that. But I remember just being in my car and thinking, after I hung up the phone with him, thinking, we don't have even the $80 a month to put our kid in dance class. That was when I realized just things are tight, man. And I'll never forget just praying God, show me a way to make extra income. I couldn't go get a job. I had these 2 girls that were 1 and 2. It wouldn't even make sense with daycare, things like that. And so I remember praying that in my car. And then not long after, a friend I went to Bible college with was posting before and after photos of Instagram, all these belly pictures. And I basically went from being intrigued, thinking it was kind of gross, almost unfollowing her, and then finally sending her a message saying, how much are the wraps? Because my second baby was a C-section. So I had all the feels. And I went to order wraps, even though we didn't have the money. I was going to kind of figure it out later, sort of thing. I messaged her how much. She emailed me. Now you'd probably DM or text, but she emailed then. And I was going to become a customer. And she said something that literally changed my life. And I think of this so often is I sent her my info for her to enroll me to become a loyal customer. And right before she did, she said, hey, just throwing this out there, in case you're open to extra income, for only $40 more, you could become a distributor and still get a free box of wraps. That was it. And all I thought was, if I'm open to extra income, $40 more. And I'm kind of compulsive. I always like to get good deals. I'm the kind of person.
Good deals.
Well,
that sounds a good one.
No, I like good deals. I felt $40 more seemed like a good deal. I'll spend $40 more to get the $3 free shipping. To me, that feels like a good deal. Okay. And so, I mean, if there's a $200 purse, that's retail, or like $1,000 purse that's half off for $500, I feel like the $500 purse is probably a better deal than the $200 purse. So that's what I'm saying. I'm all about SheriLynn good deals. And so to me, $40 more seemed like a really good deal. So I became a distributor. I'm not going to lie. Had I like became a distributor from Nordstrom's, y'all know Nordstrom takes everything back, I would have returned it the next day because I quickly had buyer's remorse. But I joined, just kind of pulled the trigger. And then when John got home from work, I started crying because I was like, I'm going to be in so much trouble. I don't know what envelope this is coming from. We don't have the extra money. And that's kind of where I was. And then you want to tell them what you said?
Yeah. So when she joined, I came home from work and, granted, I will give her some slack. Like we had 2 babies under 2, right, at some point in life.
Yeah.
And it's all a blur now. But I came home.
It's still a blur because now we have another baby and don't sleep. But, we can't complain. Brittany has like the most babies.
Yeah. So we're complaining around people. But anyway, I will give her this, that, I was thinking maybe it was just emotions, just postpartum, lack of sleep, whatever. But she was crying about, that she had spent $99. And I knew that she had wanted to try the wraps just in passing. Like, I didn't know what she was really talking about, what we had talked about it. And I just remember saying like several things that, we tell everyone from this point forward, because we learned a valuable lesson at the time, not knowing that we were so genius at the time. But, I just asked her some questions. The first one, I said, how much did you spend? And she said, I spent $99. And she's like crying. Yes, Ambassador SheriLynn was crying about joining the business, almost 5 years ago. And I said, okay. I said, well, what do you get? She goes, well, I get, a box of wraps and some other things. I was like, well, didn't you want to try those anyway? She was like, yeah. I was like, okay, so you spend $100 at Target. You never come home crying about that. Like, so that's not the reason why you're crying. I was like, okay. Second question was, how much do you have to spend every month? Because we've been approached by so many different people in good, just wanting to, help us out or whatever. But, there was always like, well, you need to spend X amount of dollars every month. You need to meet this minimum. And I just, being a numbers guy, like, I don't like that. Like I trade stocks for a living, and I think that there's something to being tied down every month, and that being, which granted, you should run your auto ship, you should be a product of the product, all those things, but at the time we just didn't have it. And so she was like, there's no minimums. I was like, okay, so that's not it. So I'm trying to figure this out. And I'm like, okay, dude, like you get your wraps, you try them, they work, they don't work. You don't want to do anything next month. We quit. What happened? She was like, nothing. And then I was like, then what in the world are you crying about? I'm not, in fact, the thing that we tell on is like, we're not bold enough about this opportunity because with stocks, like I just bought Pinterest. They just went public a couple days ago. That's a medium risk stock with a possibility of an okay reward. Okay, it's a good investment. It's not a great investment. Do you realize that what we have in our hand is we have a 0 risk business with the possibility of a great reward? Any good investment you will ever make in life, if it is 0 risk with the possibility of a great reward, it is worth doing. And that's what we found in this business. You pay $99. Some of you paid $50 or $20 or $10. They didn't do any of that when we started. We paid $99. We got over $100 the box of wraps. Great. And that was how we started. We just realized, wow, what an opportunity to literally start in the black from day one. Name another business in this entire planet that you could start a business and have 0 risk with the possibility of great reward. Society will tell you that it's normal to go $200,000 in debt to open a boutique, a hair salon, you name it, because that's normal. And then in 5 years, hopefully you turn a profit. Like if you really do the numbers on that, that's just stupid. Like that's stupid business. And here we are with a business that literally costs you nothing to start and the possibility of making millions in the next 5 years like we have. I mean, that's how you need to approach this business day in and day out.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. And so that was what was so good is like, I mean, I honestly, definitely, I think when I think of the game and like, just like, those moments in my business, number one was when I was asked for $40 more and the business was offered to me. So when someone's ordering products from you, ask them, do they want to just grow out their hair or grow out their hair and make money? Do they want to try, wraps or try the wraps and make money? Are they open to extra money? That was game changing. The fact that John was like supported, had he not been a supportive spouse, one of our kids, one of the children, but had he not been a supportive spouse, I know there's a lot of people that don't have that, that would have been hard. I don't know, because, you're going to have things like that. Maybe I would have tried to prove him wrong. I don't know. Or I would have just not even tried. But that was huge kind of for me. And then really, I didn't start out just like running. I knew I wanted to make money, but kind of was a little overwhelmed. So I was just like, I don't know. I'll try my products first and then see. So it's not that I ran out of the gate. So when you have someone, I tell my girls this all the time, don't just write them off. Like, because it's like, oh, well, they're not working. Well, they just signed up like 2 weeks ago. Like, have they even gotten their kit? Like, show them some grace. Like, you don't know, and for me, what my next like big moment was in the business was I was probably 3 weeks in, and I was invited to an online Facebook party. And it was a sideline sister that had gone double diamond, and she'd earned a $10,000 and a $15,000 bonus. And seeing a mom that had a son that earned $25,000 in bonuses, was double diamond, was a 911 dispatcher. Like, I remember clicking on that party because I couldn't sleep at night and reading through it and going, this is a normal mom? Like, oh my goodness. Like, I left the party and like went and like Facebook stalked her to be like, does she have a cajillion friends? Like, how was she successful? And at the time, now this girl does, but at the time she didn't. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is someone like me. If she can do this, why can't I? And that was such a huge, huge moment in my business. And so for you, I would say plug in, whether you're hopping on these types of calls or you're on Pam's, show me the money calls, or get to an event, or get on that Facebook party, something to where your eyes can be open so you can think, whoa, why not me? And that's what I would say to you right now is, why not you? Like, what do I have that you don't? Nothing. I was a hot mess express when I joined. What does Brittany have that you don't? Nothing. So anyways, those were kind of those big moments. And that was when I decided I'm doing this business, and I ran for it. And, I did promote quick, but it doesn't matter if you sprint or if it's a marathon, And so for me, it was a $10,000 diamond bonus on the table. So I thought, why not? This girl did it. I didn't. So I decided I'm going diamond. Started telling everyone, started asking people to join my team, saying they're going to join my team. We're going to all go diamond and get a $10,000 bonus. And that was just like my spiel, like, let's do this. We're not making money in a year. We'll quit. And like, I asked everybody, anybody and everyone, I asked them to join. I started with my best friends. And then it was just like the kind of friends, the acquaintances. So if I could meet them in person, I did. If it was a phone call, I did. If I was more of a text person, I text. And then I would go to Facebook, and literally I probably asked like 10 people a day my first year. And I told someone that one of my girls was saying right now, she's like, I can't really sign any distributors. That's the harder part. I'm like, it's not hard to sign distributors. If you're not signing distributors, you want me to tell you what? You're not asking enough people. Because even then, I was working more market, but I was asking 10 people a day. That's 70 people a day. Yeah, I was signing DTs. I was asking 70 people a week that I actually had some relationship with to join my team. So don't discredit your warm market. Yeah, a lot of them said no. None of my bridesmaids are in the business. Actually, one of my bridesmaids just became a loyal customer 5 years later recently. And even my own cousin just became a loyal customer too, like last month. And, my maid of honor. But some of them did. Like my sister-in-law was on Pam's call tonight, Stacy. She just went ambassador. So it took her 5 years. Who cares? She's like the opposite of me. She's yellow and just really like sweet. And I can be a little bit, more like crazy. And, and so anyways, I asked. So that's what I did. And got the $10,000 bonus because I believed it and I spoke it. And then after I went diamond, it was just like, okay, the next month I'm going to go double. So went diamond in 3, double the next month. I don't know, at a year went presidential, at a year and a half went ambassador. And the one thing I'll tell you is I don't always know what I did besides I worked my business, I asked people, but I really believed it. And I would be showering and I would speak it like, I'm Ambassador Diamond. I like washing my hair. I'm Ambassador Diamond. I'm Ambassador Diamond. And I don't know why that was like my prayer time. But like, I just believed it. And it went actually past myself. And I had to have like John had to like have like a moment with me in the business where I was starting to get like in that little funk kind of maybe a few months ago over the summer during my 3rd trimester pregnancy. So I guess it was kind of a while ago now. Maybe it was, everything blurs. But where at the beginning of my business, I went diamond in 3 months, got the 10,000. So everyone that joined me, guess what? I was like, okay, Stacy, my sister-in-law joined me after 3 weeks of me harassing her. She's now ambassador. But she finally said, yes. It's like, okay, well, we're going to go diamond in 3 months and get the $10,000 bonus. And so what happened? She joined diamond, $10,000 bonus. My mom finally joined diamond, 3 months, $10,000 bonus. My best friend Kathy joined me diamond, 3 months, $10,000 bonus. My friend Yadish joined me diamond, 3 months, $10,000 bonus. My friend Amy joined me diamond, $10,000 bonus. Like, I mean, literally, hot. It was like, that's what you do. You don't go, and you have to remember, teaching is what they're going to do. So that's what I made the norm for my team. Can I tell you, I was a triple diamond and had some ambassador diamond paychecks, like, because my first year I was in the top 75. So if you think about this, my first year, that's talking like distributor pay, executive pay, Ruby paid was a top 75 in my first 10 months. And yeah, by the time they had that first dash, I was a presidential diamond because I, went presidential diamond in that first year. But I remember being there and had just gone presidential diamond, was invited to this top 75 thing. And it had all my checks for my first year that were literally like, beginning checks, but then had some massive ones. Why? Because I have all these diamonds popping on my team because that's what I taught. Like, that was one thing I taught. And can I tell you something else? I was never a mass enroller either. I was very my goal was always to double my steps to success. So I'm talking like 60 T's is like a great month for me. Like, some months were even 3. Some months might have been more and been like 8 or 9, but I've never enrolled 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or anything like that, but still was able to go to the top of the company. Okay. And so I would say, what kind of vision are you casting for your team? And even now, last month on our team, I wish John was down here because he could say, when he runs the report for our promotions, he would say, we had, I think, 47 executives promote on my downline, but we had 150 rubies. It's never been like that besides the last 2 months. It used to always be executive, then rubies, then emeralds and diamonds and doubles. But all of a sudden it's like executive, then rubies since conference. Rubies, then emeralds, diamonds, doubles. Why? That executive, everyone's just going ruby because we're teaching now. You go ruby. We're not even showing executive charts. So anyways, that's kind of what I did. That's how I got there. That's probably more info than you needed.
No, oh my gosh, I could not love any of that more. I don't know if everybody caught that, but you guys, SheriLynn, top 10, just said she has never been a mass enroller, but she's fiercely consistent in everything that she does, and she casts that belief, like, you can do this too, down to her team. Seriously, I'm so glad that you said all that, because I think that so often we can get caught looking at, that person that just signed like 120 distributors last month, and everyone's like, what are they doing? And they forget that the success comes in the things that you do daily and that you're fiercely consistent about. So I just love that so much. Okay. Several people were asking, what does your daily routine look like? Obviously, a lot of people who are, right there neck and neck with you in the top 10, maybe their husbands are retired, but, John's still working and you guys have 3 small kids. So what are you guys' daily routine looks like? And what would you just say you have just found to be super golden for you, like maintaining, your, just everything that you want to do in the business?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you one thing. What's that quote I always butcher about the long-term?
Oh, long-term consistency. Long-term consistency always trumps short-term intensity.
So that's it. You told it to me. You should know this.
Long-term consistency always trumps short-term intensity.
So that's what I would say. So number one, my secret is I am so consistent. Every day is not perfect, but even what I would deem a not great day in my business, I still post, I still probably message the people that voted on my poll. I still added some new people. So I'll go over what I do. But so for me, my core 4 kind of turned into a core 6. But it's always been post daily. I feel and when I'm talking post, get that post on Facebook, get a post on Instagram, blast your stories, and everyone's different. So I have team members right now. Kelly Brown, one of my best friends, she just went presidential diamond, gonna go ambassador this month. She like post like 6 times on Facebook, 5 times on Facebook still, you know, I might post like twice, you know, so I don't care what your thing is, what your groove is, do what works for you. Cause I've got team that posts once a day rocking it. I've got team that posts 6 times a day rocking it. So whatever, you do you, baby. But the thing is, you got to show that your store's open. Okay. And so I post daily, and you're like, well, I don't really work Facebook. Well, do you have team following you? Because what I've learned is what I do, my team does. So just because I could say, oh, well, everyone knows I do, it works, I don't have to like post because like my network knows. Well, no, because my team's all doing what I'm doing. So if I'm not doing, they're not going to do it. So just remember, your team does what you do. So I post daily, Facebook, Instagram, and my stories, I totally blast and really sign a 10 from those. So post that I message. One of my favorite ways to message, and it's up to you. Like right now, my team's like rocking host to post, doing tons of host to post. I've always loved utilizing like the polls. Once I knew about those, I used to message people who commented or liked on my photos. But now I love to message like polls. So like if I do it and they vote on it, if I didn't have enough people that voted on it, that's okay. I'm going to message who views my poll. Be like, hey girl, I saw you clicked on my IG. You know, I've got 1 spot left for whatever. Or I think you do so great at this business, you know, whatever. And I like just saying you clicked on my IG, because they're like, what did I click on? Well, I mean, I guess if they're viewing my story, they clicked on something, so they don't know, you know, so I do that a lot. So I post, I message, I follow up. That's huge. I, for the longest time, never kept track of anybody, and people would talk about Follow Up Friday, and I was like, who are they like following up with? Like, because I didn't keep track of anyone. It was like, I'm sure a million people have signed all the people I originally messaged because I didn't reap it. Don't, you know, water someone else's seed and let them get the fruit because you didn't follow up. So now I keep track of that. And so I'll go through and like follow up. So post, message, follow up, I expand my network. And, you know, I'll be honest, like to me, I'm still super duper about consistency. So I would be lying if I said I run Captivate and Cleaner every single day, like the apps that like batch follow and mass follow. Cause like I might do that like once a week or twice a week, but I'm following, even if it's just I'm clicking on a store. Because I'm a little bit old school. I am 35. So, you know, like I might be clicking on like a boutique I like or whatever, you know, and like following people that I like or think would do great at what I do, or on a friend's, and I might have accidentally caught myself scrolling and I'm like, ruh-roh, I shouldn't just scroll and stuff. So let me quickly follow these people or add new people on Facebook. But I always add, okay? So I post, I message, I follow up, I expand my network. And then here, I'll tell you my 2 bonus ones is I look at my chart. I added that because that's huge. And Stephanie Dunn told me that. And I was like, whoa, like, I mean, if she said, she looks at her chart every day and she's number 1 and I want to be number 1. So if she looks at her chart every day, I'm gonna look at my chart every day. And that's huge. Knowing where you're going. The times in the business where I just coasted. Yeah, there's times I just coasted. Like I sat in 2.0 double diamond land for like, how long? Like a year? Like too long, you know? And so anyways, whatever, I don't know. I like just sat there double diamond just way too long. And I just didn't have like my charts, and I was signing and like doing good and making great money. But like, I didn't like have that roadmap that I was just like staring at with like updated volume, knowing what I need. So looking at my chart, and then kind of a subcategory under that is like making sure my teams know, like who the legs I'm working with know their chart. You ain't like, I told my diamonds this, I said, you are never above charting. Ask John, what were you swiping out of the bed last night?
Oh, eraser, like shavings.
Yeah, and John's always like, well, this is a good sign whenever there's like eraser all over our sheets, because it means I'm charting people and sending them their charts. And he's like, this is a good sign, I guess. And he's like sweeping out all the erasers because I was charting in bed on Easter. But you know, it's huge. So I do that. So I post, message, follow up, expand my network, charts the bonus. And then I had another bonus I added, post, message, follow up, expand my network, chart my team. Oh, and then touch base with you have to touch base with your top 10, your leaders, whatever. Because I have had and this is a little bit, if you're like a Ruby on here, really everyone should do all 6 of these. But the other 2 bonuses I really hit with like my leaders. And the 6th one is touch bases with your team. Because I'll have girls that are like, I'm doing great, like personally, you know, I've been messaging, I've been posting every day. I haven't done so good, like working with my team. Honey, are you like, without your team, like what, you're gonna fill all this? You wanna go try to fill 5,000 in volume? How much work do you have to do to fill 5,000 in volume? Versus what if, I mean, I don't know, I don't know that I've ever brought in 5,000 volume personally in a month or anything, but like I said, like mass enrolling is, I've got to claim that. It's not been what I've done thus far, but I'm all about, Lord, send me lots of fish. So I would take it and do it, but that just hasn't been my track record. So to me, I might sign 6 customers, but I can teach the 10 people on my team to also sign 6. So that's still 60. So stop trying to sign 60 by yourself. If you can sign 60, awesome, sign your 60, but then teach everyone else how to do it too. Touch bases with your team. And that's really big. Like if you're not talking and checking in with them, like I always tell my girls, it's a joke, but we call it your babies. I'm like, who are your babies this month? Like you're trying to go diamond. Who are your babies? Like your babies, if you're trying to go diamond, is your emerald, the 2 rubies under her, that other ruby. Do you have any other boxes that are brand new at 0? Who are your babies? Who are your top 10? And guess what? Your babies, you better be talking to them every day, not once a week, not right before month end saying, hey girl, like got any potentials or like whatever. No, you talk to your babies. And so that's kind of what I do.
I love that so much. I love that reminder that you shouldn't just be talking to them weekly or just that month in, but every single day. Because I think so often, Pam said something once about like, if you are in love with recruiting, but you're not in love with training, then you're not going to have the success you want, because you can't just bring people in, you've got to be training them too. So I love that so much. Okay, the next question that our team had for you was, what is something that holds others back that you would say from like breaking through to like the level that you guys are at? Like obviously we know there's no like magic secret to success, but what is something that you guys feel like really makes the difference from someone who goes, all the way to top 10, other than what you've already shared with us, obviously?
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's actually an awesome question, because if you talk to me about charting, I'll tell you how to chart wrong. And if you talk, I can do projected volume because Sherry's made me do that now, and I can transfer and email people. I can do a lot of things, but usually the logistics are tough. This is a good question because I know how to answer it, but I think truly this is one of the things that sets really, that top 1% apart from the other 99%. This very question. And I really think that it comes down to your mind, that there's a battlefield every day in your mind that's going on. Because here's the thing, if your mind is not right from the second you wake up in the day, like it sets the tone for everything you're going to do that day. And one thing that I can truly say about me and Sherry is that we have never, like not one day in our life, looked at the Dunns or looked at an up and comer or looked at anyone else in this business and really cared what they've done. Like we're happy for them. Like we're happy that the Dunns are another number 1. We'll be happy when you go, to your next promotion, Brittany. But like other people's success doesn't phase us one way or another. Other people's journeys don't phase us one way or another. We learned very early on that we are responsible for one thing, and that's what do John and Sherry do every day to be the best version of ourselves that we possibly can. And I really think like if you look at the top leaders, they absolutely remove any boundary, that self-imposed boundary on their lives, on their business, on their team. Because here's the thing, if you're saying I can't do it, guess what? You're telling your team they can't do it. If you're saying like I'll never achieve diamond, double diamond, triple diamond, you've basically just said no one on my team will ever achieve diamond, double, triple, prez, ambassador. One thing we have always said is that somebody has to be successful in this business. So why not be us? Like we have one job every day, to wake up and get to work every morning. Like, I leave at 5:15 to go to work, but on the weekends, it doesn't matter if it's the weekend. Like SheriLynn is up 6, 7, whatever time the kids wake us up. She's getting ready to go. She's getting her mind right. She's getting her team moving. She's getting things. And it's been that way for 5 years. It's not like she's done it for a week and then taken a week off. It's not like she did it for 3 days and then took 3 months off and then came back. Like none of that. We made a decision like, if we are going to do this, we're going to do it with excellence. Like the word says that do everything as if you're doing unto the Lord. Like we have one job, and it's to do it with excellence, because our family deserves that. Our team deserves that. And if you say like, what is the one thing? The one thing is like, maybe call it ignorance if you want, but we just have the audacity to believe that like, it's awesome that SheriLynn is went ambassador 1.0. It's awesome that went presidential. It's awesome that she went presidential 2.0. It's like all those things are great, but we're kind of dumb enough to believe like if that's happened in 5 years, like what can happen in 5 more years? And I think that some of us, like we don't have the guts to just believe we can do it. And in that, I'm sorry, like you're setting precedents for your team. If you don't have the guts to believe, you're setting precedents for your team. But what would happen if you're just an emerald or a diamond going for double and you finally realize like, you know what? Someone else is going to go ambassador this month. Someone else is there's going to be 20 more ambassadors in the next 2 or 3 months. There's going to be, I don't know how many there's going to be, but why can't you be one of them? Why can't 67 people on this Zoom, like every one of you could do it if you would remove the doubt, remove the fear, but then go to work each and every day and be consistent in it. Like that is truly the difference between that 1% and the 99. It's that we don't put borders on our life. We don't put boundaries on our life. We don't get caught up with what other people are doing or, you know, how fast other people are doing it. We simply worry about ourselves, what we're doing every day, and make sure that we're not putting any limits on our lives because we're responsible for the thousands that are underneath us. And so my prayer for you tonight would be that some of you've had boundaries. Some of you've doubted yourself. Some of you've looked at the person to the left or the sideline sister. Let's face it, we're competitive people. Some of us, we've looked at that person and been like, yeah, I'm not really happy for them. You know, like, let's face it, like we all go through those moments. But what you've got to start doing is just all the energy and the mental, you know, the mental time you give those things, point it back to your business. Like when the company was going through things and, you know, there were ups and there were downs, like you never heard from me and Sherry. We were too busy promoting. Like we were too busy staying focused. We were too busy keeping our team moving in the right direction. And I think like, that's in my opinion, one of the $1 million questions. You can host a post all you want. You can ask people all you want. You can post on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. But if your mind is not right and your heart's not right, you're kind of just going to spin your wheels and be stuck where you are day in and day out. But when your heart is right and your mind is right, you begin to speak different. You begin to have a different passion. You begin to be more attractive. You begin to like, oh man, maybe I should join Brittany. Maybe I should join Sherry. But if you're putting a lid on your life, like people today, they need something bigger than themselves. A lot of them need freedom. They need hope. And if they look at you as a person who like doesn't have that belief in them, they're not going to sign with you. They're going to sign with somebody else. And I just think that it starts with your mind and your heart and going at it every day and not putting limits on yourself. And you're like, well, John, that's easier said than done. Not really. Like, who are you putting your life around? Who is speaking into your life? What are you putting into your life? And what are you saying to yourself? Like, if you are being down on yourself, it's usually who you are around or what you are letting into your life. And probably some of you need to change your circle of influence in order to start believing in yourself again. And I think like that's beyond the $1 million question. Me and SheriLynn, we're normal people just like anyone else. But the reason she's been in the top 10 the last 3 or 4 years, I can't even remember anymore. It's not because we have some secret sauce other than we believe we can do it. And we actually have the audacity to believe that we're barely even getting started, and believes that too. And it's amazing what that will do for your team from top to bottom when you start being the leader that you're supposed to be and the one that the Lord's called you to be. And I think that's been kind of like the difference for us.
Wow, I seriously got chills just the whole time listening to you guys speak. I could not have loved your answer more. And I love so much the reminder of, you know, what you said about it doesn't matter what other people are doing and what success others are having. Like, you're not getting caught up in that. And I'm sure you guys, especially like seeing people just that swoop in out of nowhere to top 10 and things like that, I think it can just be so easy for everyone to be like, whoa, what are they doing? I might need to change everything I've ever done. But the reality is, if you know what you need to do, and you've been seeing success what you're doing, keep doing more of that and keep your head down, and the success is going to continue to come. So I just love everyone hearing that reminder from you guys, because obviously you guys know what you're doing. And I just thought that answer was so good. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the chat, but everybody loves you guys so much. I think this is exactly what we needed to hear at this point in the month. The last question that we had written down was, what is the biggest obstacle that you guys have faced in your business, and what did you do to overcome it?
Probably the biggest obstacle, had to do with the mind, the battlefield of the mind. And I would probably say, the one thing, like, everyone's got their flaws. One thing, kind of like John said, is one thing I'm good at is I'm a cheerleader for others. I don't really deal with like jealousy or comparison or that kind of thing. But it was probably the third trimester in my pregnancy. So last summer, which is crazy, it's almost this summer. So almost a year ago, I had kind of been at Double Diamond and I was on bed rest and, had some issues with the pregnancy and this blood clot. And I just wasn't feeling great, and I just was kind of just like, I wouldn't even call it a funk because I still was loving my business and my team, but like, I don't know if you call it complacent. I guess I would call it a funk, just kind of just like doing it. And I'm still showing up, still doing it, but maybe I was lacking something and it was in the mind for sure. And I remember even them announcing the second surf and turf, like the first surf and turf, they announced it. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like the first one, I was like, I'm going to totally, what was that one? Was it Building Rubies? Mm-hmm. Building Rubies. I was like, I can build diamonds. I can build rubies. Like, and I remember they announced it. I was like, heck yeah, I'm going to get on that. And I was like, I actually think I'll probably build the most rubies out of anyone, I can't figure out yet how to be number one, like income, but I'm like, I can definitely build the most rubies. I remember even saying that when Mark said something and sent a thing halfway through letting people know, like, hey, you're in the running, you're in the top, whatever. I was like, hey, my number one for it, and I just had this belief and mindset. And what happened? Surf and turf came, not to toot my own horn, but I was the number one ruby builder, okay? And so, like, I knew it. I believed it. So then they announced the second one. And for whatever reason, I was pregnant and just kind of in this thing. And they announced that it was emeralds, but it wasn't just for ambassadors, for the whole team, the whole company. And the first thing I thought is, like, my mind got a little funky. Why can't compete against mass enrollers? Like, I know that, so-and-so enrolls like a kajillion and shit. Like, and it was emerald. I had to have the most emeralds. And literally without even trying, I said, there's no way. Like, and I had already decided I was out, like, and wouldn't be in that one. And like, why did I do that? But I still have that drive and stuff. So of course I'm still building my business. And at the end of the contest, I think I still probably ended, but I had decided I wasn't. And I wasn't really like trying like to win the contest, but I still was doing my business. And so I just so happened not really trying to have maybe 3 or 4 new emeralds by the end of it. And I think the minimum that made it was like 5. So it's like, what if I would have actually put in the effort and tried, but I let my stinky mind get in the way of listening lies of the enemy. SheriLynn, you can't mass enroll. You can't compete with those triples that like sign a kajillion people. You can't compete with those people that, signs, like, you sign 4 DTs a month. Like, you can't. And so I just disqualified myself. Right. And I was in this like mind funk. And it was the mind thing. Like John said, 80%, or did you say 80% of the business is mine? No, I was listening to a call today. Stacy said that on the call with Pam, 80% of the business is mine. And that's so true. And then Mark announces the new rank up bonuses. And I remember being on that call, and it was the summer, a little bit after Surf and Turf. And I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. Those rank ups, like my team, oh my goodness, who's going to earn some? My team, they're going to do great. And I wasn't even thinking about myself because I was been at Double Diamond for a year on my 2.0, just kind of not like, I already said I couldn't get Surf and Turf, so of course I didn't. And now they said rank up bonus. I don't have a chance for rank up bonuses. I'm Double Diamond. My third diamond lady, she had like not only quit, but her account like canceled. So I was literally like a solid maintaining Double Diamond, but nowhere near triple. Like, you need a double, a diamond, another guy, and I was just like, no, I'm like a double diamond, like nothing extra. I have an emerald and a diamond or what, And so I remember John called me after Mark's live and was like, babe, there's rank up bonuses. Oh my gosh, like, you're going to get the triple, whatever it was. And I was like, oh, John, you still don't get charting, do you? And I was like on the phone, I'm like, John, no, I'm not going to go triple. Like, I'm not built for triple. I need a whole nother diamond and my diamond to go double and and explain to him everything I need, And he's like, well, why can't you? It's this whole month. I was like, I can't build a diamond in a month. And he's like, so you're like not going to try? Like, wouldn't you be telling your team they can all do it? Like, wouldn't you tell the doubles on your team they can go triple? And I'm like, okay, stop telling me what I would say, But I remember I was just like, okay, like, I don't know, I got to go. And I was like, I need a whole new diamond. He's like, well, the next distributor you sign, keep her on your top line and go triple. Work with her, whatever. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I hung up and then I started to think, Why am I doing this? Why am I deciding that I can't do this without even trying? Why? Because we're scared. So who on here is scared to go for that promotion this month because you think you can't do it? I mean, there's like a week left. Who says you can't? What if you tried? What if you spoke that goal? What if you went for it? What's the worst case? Like, you want to go ruby and you don't, so what? You end up executive. You want to go diamond and you don't, so you end up emerald, or you're that much closer. Like, whoever regrets not going for it? Or what happens if you set the goal and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, hit it. And you're like, it happened. And so for me, I hung up with John and I was like, you know what? He's right. Why am I not trying? Why am I taking myself out of these races? Like, why am I letting this like funky littleness in me, like, mess me over? So the next distributor that signed me that day, kept her on my top line, worked with her. Guess what? By the end of the month, she didn't go diamond, but she went emerald. And she had a girl under her that went emerald. So she was incredibly close to diamond. So no, I didn't rank up that month, but the bonuses were extended. And after sitting at double diamond an entire year, I decide to do it, get insanely close that month. The next month, they extend the rank up bonuses. What happens? I go triple. Literally, from like 2 months from deciding it, it happens after it sat there for probably over a year, because it was the mind. So that's, I forget what the question was, but I know it had to do with my biggest struggle, you know, at times in the business. It was that. It's just letting that battlefield of the mind. So it's going to happen. I don't care if you're a distributor. I don't care if you're a diamond. I don't care if you're an ambassador or if you're in top 10. Guess what? We all deal with the same things. And so what can you do when the lies of the enemy come? You take the thought captive and you say, no, that's not from God, because I know I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I know that I'm more than a conqueror. I know God's going to bless what I put my hands to, you know, and that's what you do. So you just have to, you know, overcome those things by just deciding that you're going to. So that's probably the biggest struggle. And guess what? I'll probably have more of those. I'll have more times the enemy kind of tries to, what is it that Mark talks about? The 8 inches between your ears or whatever, the 6 inches.
Depends how big your head is.
Yeah, maybe it depends how big your head is, but that's like your biggest battles, the 8 inches or 6 inches between your ears.
Yeah, and I think just to tag on to that, it's like, you know, we're not just these two people who like had this faith from day one. Like, I mean, yeah, we love the Lord and we believe he has great things for us, but we would be dumb to say that we always felt like that. And, you know, she said, she always gives me credit for that one moment. But the reason I believed that way is because, you know, like 4 years ago or so, when she was pushing for presidential, I remember we had 13 days left in the month. We needed 14 distributors plus volume. And guess what? We did it. We did it that month. And so you will find that in different seasons of this business, the struggles and the battles and the things you're going through, as hard as they are, they're just preparation for that next big move. They're just preparation for that next promotion that you never even, they're just part of your growth as a leader. They're just part of your growth in your belief system in yourself and in your team. And so you have to understand that, you know, you may not see it now, but if you'll be faithful and keep pushing, keep going, the faith that you had then will be the thing that you're reminded of for where the Lord wants to take you now. And I think that's why our belief is so big, because if he can do it once for our business, like, why won't he do it over and over and over again? Like, if you're faithful in the, you know, we always tell our team, like, if you're faithful in the small, he's going to give you more. You know, it's just a principle of life. And the Bible says that, you know, don't become weary in doing good, for at the proper time you will reap a harvest. And so that tells me that, yes, we're going to become weary in doing good, but it's also a promise that if we don't give up, the harvest is going to come. And I think that's what a lot of us are seeing right now, is that if we stayed consistent, we kept doing it. Like the fact that last fall was like, we were just on a tear and we continued, and we're seeing the highest volumes across like the company that we've ever seen before. But we're seeing it with the people who continue to plant seed and who are planting seed today. And so someone once said this, they said that things that are easy never last. Things that are hard always last. And I think that you may look at where you're at and say, you know, if I could just get here, well, it's going to take a little bit more work than the previous promotion did. It may be hard in some extent, but Sheri always says, like, choose your hard. Is hard, you know, working 40 hours a week away from your kids while they're in daycare, or is hard messaging a few extra people so that you can get to Diamond and stay home with your kids? Like, you've got to keep it into perspective. but understand like the work that you're doing, it's for something that's going to last. And when I say that, it's not just lasting in the 15th of every month when you're getting a paycheck. Like, how many moms can you bring home in 2019? How much debt can you pay off on your team in 2019? Mm-hmm. How many lives can be changed in 2019? How many kids can go to dance class because you're coaching their mom or even their dad on, you know, this or that, so that they can just have that extra income? Like, understand that the things that are hard always last. And so choose your hard. Mm-hmm. And, you know, this isn't a complicated business, but it is a business that takes work. It's not like trading stocks. You're not looking at technicals and Fibonacci levels and wearing all the stress. But you know what? It's hard because you're working as many hours as you want or as few as you want, because you have to have the self-discipline to do it. But I promise you, when you hit that promotion, mm-hmm. when your teams hit those promotions, I guarantee you there's never been a month that we've gone all in, and on the first of that next month, we don't look back and be like, man, that was a ride of 30 something days. Like, let's do it again, you know? And so just know that if it's easy, it's probably not going to last. If there's a battle, if there's a struggle, if there's hard, it's because you're making a difference. And, you know, that's kind of the encouragement that you need to have for the season that you might be in.
I love that so much. I love just how just real and open that you guys are. I remember hearing on a Zoom when I first started, I don't remember who it was, but whoever the leader was said, like, with new levels come new devils. Like, you're never going to be at a point in the business where, oh, everything's just smooth sailing. You never have struggles. And I just love, SheriLynn, you just being so open that, you're top 10 and you sat there and thought, oh, I couldn't do surf and turf. And that just shows us how easy it is to fall into those lies that the enemy throws at us. And I think I love what Cami always says about, like, the devil will never come up against a house that he's not scared is going to come up against him. And so it makes sense, like, when God puts you on this platform and gives you so much influence, that the devil's going to come at you when you're least expecting it, when you're, even a, literally top 10 income earner like you guys are. And so I hope what everyone on here took away from that is that, if you're feeling discouraged, like, everyone feels discouraged at some point, but it's all about if you're just going to persevere. And sometimes that's all God is looking for, is someone who'll never quit and will just hang on through those struggles. So thank you guys so much. You guys have no idea how much this means to us. We know that you guys have a massive team of your own, and you guys taking that time for our team tonight just means the world to us. So we appreciate you guys so much. We all look up to you, and we're just so thankful for you guys as just role model in this business.
Oh, well, we love you guys. And yeah, and I would just say there's a lot of month left, so go after it. Whatever that goal was you set. I said this to my team, so I'd say it to you. What was that goal you set at the beginning of April? And pause, self-evaluate. And if you're like, I'm not where I want to be, crank it up. Massive action is going to eventually lead to success. So you're not seeing what you want, you increase the action, you take it up a notch. I do that to myself. If I'm like, these numbers aren't what I want, let me increase it. Massive action. Like, I'm going to take it up. So do that. Don't throw in the towel, shout those goals out, write them, remember them, decide I can and I will. And I love that. And that was when my sister-in-law went ambassador last month. That's the one thing she said. She said that it seemed impossible. She lacked 100,000 in volume. She, like the month before, she's like, how am I going to go up 100,000 in volume? But she did. And the whole month, anytime something came up, she'd say, wait, I can and I will. I can and I will. I can and I will. So that's what I would say to you guys. You can and you will. Okay?
Thank you guys so much. I will send you guys over the recording once I get uploaded so y'all can have it too.
Okay. Bye, you guys.
Bye.